Here's my preview of the 3 seed Baylor versus the 6 seed Creighton in the round 32 men's basketball game, which will occur at 6:10 p.m. Central Time on TBS. One thing about Creighton, their starting five, that's all their leading scores. They are double digits. Everybody else is 3.6 points per game or less, but that's besides the point. That's just stating facts right there. But I better go over the players, and I'm going to put the stats in the description below so y'all could see it. First of all, they have a really good center, and Ryan Kalkbrenner, number 11, 6'1", 260-pound center. That's a junior. 15.9 points per game, 6 for 18 on threes. Yes, he can shoot threes. He even made one yesterday. 90 for 115 on free throws. 6.1 rebounds per game, 1.5 turnovers per game, 0.7 steals per game, 2.2 blocks per game, 1.8 fouls per game. Trey Alexander, number 23, 6'4", 190-pound guard. That's a sophomore. 13.5 points per game. 62 for 145 on threes. 88 for 109 on free throws. 4.1 rebounds per game, 1.4 turnovers per game, 1.1 steals per game, 1.7 fouls per game. Now, Baylor Sherman, number 55, 6'7", 205-pound guard. That's a senior. 12.7 points per game, 79 for 221 on threes, 56 for 68 on free throws, 8.3 rebounds per game, 2.2 fouls per game, 1.1 steals per game, 3.3 assists per game, 2.2 turnovers per game. Arthur Kalama, number 24, 6'7", 225-pound forward. That's a sophomore. 11.9 points per game, 39 for 124 on threes, 94 for 128 on free throws, 6 rebounds per game, 2 turnovers per game, 0.6 steals per game, 0.6 blocks per game, 2.1 fouls per game. Ryan Nembhard, number 2, 6', 170-pound guard. It's a sophomore, 11.9 points per game, 49 for 136 on threes, 62 for 72 on free throws, 4 rebounds per game, 4.9 assists per game, 2 turnovers per game, 0.7 steals per game, 1.8 fouls per game. All those guys right there are going to play the majority of the minutes. Just an FYI. Frederick King, number 33, 6'10", 234-pound center. That's a freshman, 3.6 points per game, 20 for 32 on free throws, 2.5 rebounds per game, 0.6 turnovers per game, 0.8 blocks per game, 1.3 fouls per game. Now, this next player you should recognize, Francisco Farabello, the former TCU player that's now at Creighton. Number 5, 6'3", 185-pound guard. It's a senior. 2.9 points per game, 23 for 81 on threes, 3 for 6 on free throws, 0.6 turnovers per game, 0.6 fouls per game. Now, questionable with the leg is Mason Miller, number 13, 6'9", 190-pound forward, 2.4 points per game, 20 for 53 on threes, 9 for 16 on free throws, 0.6 fouls per game. So basically he doesn't do much. Sharif Mitchell, that's the last player I'm going to mention because everybody else hardly plays 16 games or less, or even 10 games even, or less. Is number 4, 6'1", 170-pound guard. That's a junior. 1.9 points per game, 10 for 29 on threes, 7 for 11 on free throws, 0.9 fouls per game. First of all, across the board, limit your foul trouble. And you got to come out with more energy than you did last game in the first half. Yes, you got away with it, but this time you might not get away with it. You got to play more assertive. And maybe some of that was nerves. But in this highly contested game, you got to come out swinging and come out with energy. Now, defensively, it's going to be interesting how we're going to defend the starting 5, as you could tell. I mean, I would dare to say chase off Baylor and Trey from the 3-point line, as well as Ryan Nembhard. Make them shoot long twos. But I know they like to use their center for like a pick and roll sometimes, and even like straight up post up. So that's from observing the game some. Yeah. That's the truth. And you got to rebound the ball. You got to show some toughness and grit on both ends on rebounding. You got to rebound the ball. You got to limit the points in the paint as much as you can. Chase those three-point shooters off the line. Make them shoot long twos and make them hard. Hard for them. You got to force some turnovers. I mean, you got, of course, you need to limit the fast break points and the points off turnovers as well. I mean, even the second chance points as well. So that's obvious keys right there. On offense, you got to limit their turnovers. Oh, one thing on defense I didn't mention. Don't allow as many free throws as possible. Don't allow as many as possible. That's the truth. Now, on offense, you got to take care of the ball. Shot selection is key. I know for a fact that their center has some mobility deficiencies on defense. You could blow past them like those NC State guards did yesterday. So you got to find a way to get some offensive rebounds and then get some second chance points. And of course, you got to get some points in the paint besides the 3-point line. You got to be versatile on offense or even hit mid-range jump shots. I mean, of course, you got to get some fast break points. You got to get some points out turnovers. I mean, as well as second chance points. So I would dare to say Flo Thamba needs to be in this game. I mean, show up in this game in terms of physicality and rebounding and defense. This is his challenge. Is that 7'1" center. Same thing goes for Jonathan Chachua and even Joshua Juruna. They're probably the guys that are going to guard the center most of the time. Of course, you got to make adjustments on the fly. You got to. I mean, that's the truth. And same thing goes for the officiating as well on how the game is called. Creighton is physical. But you got to be a tougher team out there. It would help that Jalen Bridges would step up in this game. I know he only had 8 points last game, but I know he could do more. It's not like he did bad or anything. But we need to step up on both ends of the floor. We need Keontae George to play a little bit better than yesterday in terms of shooting. But the defense was better at times, and we need LJ Cryer to step up. We need Alan Flagel to step up. Langston Love, if he gets to play, step up. Same thing goes for Dale Bonner. I would even say Caleb Lohner. He did good yesterday. I mean, he just got to replicate what he did into this next game. That's what I think he needs to do. I mean, replicate it. And that would really help, especially if there is foul trouble. And yes, I said Langston because he did play some yesterday. So that does help. But we'll see if he even gets to play a lot. So that's just an outline on what Creighton does and who their starting five is. And you got to come out with fire. I mean, and of course, you don't want to start slow. You don't want to. But if for some reason you don't shoot the ball well in the first half, you've got to play good defense to keep yourself in the game and not get down so much too early. I mean, take for example Iowa State. They didn't shoot the ball good. They came back in the game later. I know they were down 22-2 and narrowed it down at halftime. But second half they didn't shoot any better. I mean, they didn't do anything good in the second half, and they lost that game by 18 points. Despite their defense. We just gotta be aggressive. I mean, while being smart at that. You don't want to pick up silly fouls, and you don't want to foul a jump shooter. You just don't. I mean, and of course you don't want anything like flagrant to happen or a technical to happen. So that's obvious. And based on these numbers, they will shoot threes. They're a good defensive team, and they're a good offensive team as well. Anyways, if you like this content, hit like and subscribe. See you guys later. 5 subscribers. We're on the road to it. Let's go.